Take a deep breath. Pause for a moment. Let yourself settle into this space. I want to ask you a simple question, a question that may sound small at first, but carries the power to shake your entire world. Are you truly living your own life? Not the life your parents dreamed for you, not the one society told you was safe, not the life your culture praised as acceptable, but your life, the life that arises from the deepest truth within you. If that question makes you pause or feel a little uneasy, then this journey is for you. Together, we will walk through some of Carl Jung's most profound insights: the persona, the shadow, individuation, archetypes, and the self. But don't worry if these words sound complicated. I will keep everything simple. This is not about heavy theory. It's about you, your life, and the parts of yourself you may not yet have met. This is not a lecture. It is an invitation to peel away the layers of conditioning, to face the hidden parts of your soul, and to discover a self that has always been waiting quietly within you. So let us begin. Most people live inside an illusion, not because they want to, but because they were never shown another way. From the moment you were born, you began absorbing ideas of who you should be. Your family told you how a good child behaves. Your school told you how a good student performs. Later, society told you how a successful adult should look, dress, and work. Piece by piece, an image was built, an identity. But here's the truth. This identity is not truly yours. It is borrowed. It is a costume stitched together by expectations. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "That's just who I am"? Perhaps you say, "I'm shy," or "I'm ambitious," or "I'm the funny one." But pause for a moment. Did you choose these traits? Or were they shaped for you by the reactions of others, by the need to belong, by the desire to be accepted? We all wear masks, and these masks help us survive. But beneath the mask lies something far more precious, the true self. And here is the great tragedy of human life. Many people live their entire lives inside the mask, never once meeting the self that lives underneath. Carl Jung called this mask the persona. Imagine it as the face you put on to meet the world. At work, you may wear the persona of the professional. At home, you may wear the persona of the responsible parent or the dutiful child. In social gatherings, you may put on the mask of the funny friend. The persona is not evil. It is useful. Without it, we would struggle to move through society. But the danger comes when you mistake the persona for your true identity. Think of an actor who spends years playing the same role. Over time, the line between the actor and the character begins to blur. The actor forgets who they really are. They lose themselves in the performance. This is what happens when you cling too tightly to your persona. You forget that the mask is not the face. The role is not the person. And slowly, your soul begins to suffocate behind the performance. Have you ever felt exhausted after social interactions, as if you were pretending? That exhaustion is your soul whispering, "This is not me." To begin the journey of self-discovery, you must first see the mask for what it is, useful but not the truth. If the persona is the mask we show, then the shadow is the self we hide. The shadow holds all the parts of you that you have rejected or denied. It contains your fears, your insecurities, your desires that society labeled unacceptable. But it also contains your hidden strengths, the talents you were too afraid to show, the dreams you buried because someone once laughed at them. Many people believe that ignoring the shadow makes it disappear. But this is an illusion. What you ignore does not vanish. It grows stronger in the dark. It seeps out in your emotions, your relationships, your patterns. Have you ever noticed yourself overreacting to someone else's behavior? that anger, that irritation, is often a reflection of your shadow. It is your unconscious saying, "This lives in you too." For example, if you feel great anger towards someone who is arrogant, it may be because a part of you also longs to be bold, to speak without fear, but you buried that desire long ago. The shadow is not your enemy, it is your teacher. When you begin to face it, not with judgment but with curiosity, you unlock a door to authenticity. To meet your shadow is to meet yourself. How did the persona and shadow form in the first place? The answer is simple: conditioning. From the moment you entered the world, you were molded. When you cried, some emotions were welcomed: joy, laughter, politeness. Others were rejected: anger, sadness, fear. A child quickly learns, if I show this part of myself, I will be loved. If I show that part, I will be rejected. And so the child adapts. They present the acceptable self and hide the unacceptable one. This is not a conscious choice. It is survival. Every smile that won approval, every silence that avoided punishment, every performance that earned praise, these became bricks in the wall that now surrounds your true self. But here is the freedom hidden in this realization. If conditioning shaped you, then you can also reshape yourself. You are not doomed to live inside the walls forever. You can step beyond them. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious is not just a dark storage of forgotten memories. It is alive. It speaks. It guides. The problem is, most of us are too distracted to listen. The unconscious speaks in dreams, in symbols, in sudden feelings, in creative impulses. But we drown out its voice with constant busyness, scrolling on our phones, filling our schedules, numbing ourselves with entertainment. Have you ever had a dream that felt strange yet meaningful? Have you ever felt a sudden pull toward an image, a story, a symbol, without knowing why? That is the unconscious calling. Listening to the unconscious requires courage because it often shows us what we have been avoiding. But growth is impossible without facing discomfort. The next time you dream, write it down. Look at the images. Don't try to interpret them logically. Simply ask, what might my deeper self be trying to tell me? The unconscious is not your enemy. It is your compass. Beyond the personal unconscious lies something even more mysterious, the collective unconscious. This is the shared psychic inheritance of all humanity. Within it live archetypes, universal patterns that shape human experience. You can think the ego is the part of you that says, "This is me. I am this body, this name, this personality." The ego creates boundaries. It gives you a sense of identity. Without it, life would feel chaotic. But the ego is not the whole self. It is only a small part. Like a captain who believes he is the entire ship, the ego often mistakes itself for the whole being. In truth, you are far larger. You are the conscious and the unconscious. You are the persona and the shadow. You are the archetypes and the timeless self that holds them all. Realizing this can be both liberating and unsettling. It means that the roles and labels you cling to, your job title, your social status, even your name, are not who you truly are. They are passing masks, temporary costumes. The deeper self is fluid, boundless, interconnected. To touch it is to dissolve the illusion of separation. To know it is to know freedom. Carl Jung called the journey toward wholeness individuation. It is the process of integrating all parts of the psyche, the persona, the shadow, the archetypes, the unconscious, into harmony. Individuation is not about becoming perfect. It is not about erasing flaws. It is about becoming whole. It is about embracing the fullness of who you are. This path is not easy. It requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to let go of the familiar mask and step into the unknown. But it is the only path that leads to authenticity. And the reward? A life that is truly your own. A life not dictated by conditioning, not shackled by fear, not limited by false identity. Individuation is not a destination. It is a journey, a lifelong unfolding. And every step you take brings you closer to the self you have always been. One of the greatest obstacles to individuation is fear of the unknown. The ego clings to what is familiar, even if it is painful. It would rather wear a suffocating mask than step into uncertainty. But growth always lives in the unknown. Transformation requires surrender. You must allow yourself to not have all the answers. You must dare to walk paths that have no clear maps. This is not recklessness. It is trust. Trust in life, trust in the unconscious, trust in the deeper self that guides you. When you let go of certainty, you make room for discovery. When you step into the unknown, you step into possibility. How many labels do you carry? You may say, I am a teacher, I am a mother, I am an introvert, I am successful, I am a failure. Labels can be helpful, but they are not the truth. They are shortcuts, not essence. The moment you attach too tightly to a label, you limit yourself. You become trapped inside a definition. Imagine a river insisting that it must always remain still water. It would never discover the freedom of flowing, the power of the current, the beauty of the ocean. You are like that river. You are not meant to be frozen in labels. You are meant to flow, to change, to expand beyond definition. Release the labels. They do not define you. They only describe you in a moment. The self is much greater. The unconscious does not speak in plain sentences. It speaks in symbols, feelings, synchronicities. To listen, you must slow down. You must create space. Turn off the constant noise. Spend time in silence. Pay attention to your dreams. Notice the images that repeat in your mind. Notice the stories that stir your emotions. These are messages from the deeper self. Do not rush to interpret them logically. Simply hold them like you would hold a delicate stone. Over time, their meaning will unfold. The deeper self is always speaking. The question is, are you listening? And now we arrive at the heart of it all. The journey of individuation, the peeling away of the mask, the facing of the shadow, the listening to the unconscious, the meeting of archetypes, all of this leads to one revelation. You were never truly lost. The self you have been searching for has always been within you, quiet, patient, waiting. Like a seed beneath the soil, it only needed the right conditions to grow. You do not need to become someone new. You only need to remember who you already are. Life does not truly begin until you find and embrace this deeper self. And when you do, every breath, every moment, every choice becomes alive with authenticity. So here we stand at the end of this shared journey. But for you, this is only the beginning. Ask yourself, gently, whose life am I living? And then, with patience and courage, begin to listen for the answer. The path is not easy, it is not quick, but it is worth it. For there is no greater adventure than becoming yourself. And perhaps, after all this, you will discover that the self you longed for has been here all along, quietly, lovingly, waiting for you to come home.